President Trump just dropped a bombshell that sent shockwaves through the defense industry. An F-55 fighter jet, twin engines, super upgrades. But here's the twist nobody saw coming. Lockheed Martin never showed him a twin-engine design. So what's really going on? And can Lockheed's audacious plan to transform the F-35 and F-22 actually compete with Boeing's brand new sixth-generation F-47? Let's rewind to Doha, where President Trump stood before the world and casually mentioned the F-55. A twin-engine evolution of the F-35 with what he called a super upgrade. But hold on, there's a major problem with this announcement. Lockheed never actually briefed Trump on a twin-engine design. Here's what really happened behind closed doors. Lockheed Martin had indeed met with the president multiple times before that Doha event. They pitched an upgraded F-35, sure, but their proposal featured just one advanced engine, not two. Along with a redesigned nose, a modified forward fuselage, and a completely new sensor suite. Real quick, if you're enjoying this breakdown so far, hit the like button so this video reaches more defense and aviation enthusiasts. All right, back to the F-55 mystery. So where did the twin-engine idea come from? Apparently, from Trump himself. The president has consistently expressed his preference for twin-engine fighters, citing safety. If one engine fails, you've still got another one to get you home. It's a reasonable concern, especially for someone who thinks about worst-case scenarios. But here's the reality check. Converting the single-engine F-35 into a twin-engine configuration would require a complete airframe redesign. We're talking billions of dollars and years of development time. To understand why this matters so much, we need to talk about what led us here. The Next Generation Air Dominance Program, or NGAD. This was a multi-billion-dollar deal to develop America's first true sixth-generation fighter. And Lockheed Martin lost it. Boeing walked away with the win, and their design will become the F-47, the fighter jet that's supposed to replace Lockheed's legendary F-22 Raptor. For Lockheed, this was a major loss. Here they were, the makers of the F-22 and F-35, two of the most advanced fighters ever created, and they got beat out by Boeing's fresh design. But here's where the story gets interesting. Lockheed isn't backing down. Instead, they're doing something absolutely fascinating. They're taking all the cutting-edge research they developed for their failed NGAD bid and applying it to their existing fighters. And the results could change everything we thought we knew about fifth-generation aircraft. Let's break down what that actually means, because it's not just marketing speak. Lockheed is proposing to create what they're calling fifth-generation plus fighters. These wouldn't be completely new aircraft. Instead, they'd be extensively modified versions of the F-35 Lightning II and potentially the F-22 Raptor, incorporating technologies that were originally developed for their NGAD competition entry. Now, to appreciate how revolutionary this is, we need to understand what went into Lockheed's NGAD research. And this is where things get really interesting because most people have no idea this was even happening. Over the past several years, Lockheed has been conducting some pretty wild experiments. I'm talking chrome-coated F-35s, chrome-coated F-22s, even the ancient F-117 Nighthawk, the original stealth fighter from the 1980s, got the chrome treatment. Here's what makes the chrome coatings brilliant. They could potentially confuse radar systems by creating surfaces that reflect and scatter electromagnetic waves in unexpected ways. But simultaneously, these same coatings help reduce the aircraft's infrared signature. But stealth coatings are just one piece of the puzzle. The real transformation comes when you combine multiple upgrades into a comprehensive package. So let's talk about what else is on the table for these Gen 5.5 fighters. Upgrade number 1, next generation stealth coatings. We've touched on this, but it goes beyond just chrome experiments. Lockheed is developing advanced radar-absorbent materials that work across a broader spectrum of frequencies. Modern radar systems operate on multiple bands, and what defeats one frequency might not defeat another. The new coatings are designed to be effective against pretty much everything the enemy can throw at you. Upgrade number 2, adaptive cycle engines. Now this is where things get really exciting. Both Pratt & Whitney and General Electric have been developing what are called adaptive cycle engines. An adaptive engine is like having an infinitely variable automatic transmission that's constantly optimizing for current conditions. These engines can automatically adjust airflow to provide more thrust when you need to go fast, better fuel efficiency when you're cruising, and extended range when you're operating far from home. For the F-35, this could mean a significant increase in combat radius. For a potential F-22 upgrade, it could address one of the Raptor's few weaknesses, its relatively limited range compared to its capabilities. Upgrade number 3, and this one's huge, modified airframe geometry. But wait, if you're changing the shape of the aircraft, isn't that basically designing a whole new jet? Not quite, and here's why. Lockheed is looking at targeted modifications to specific areas. A reshaped nose and forward fuselage, as mentioned in their presidential briefing. Potentially modified wing designs. Refined air intakes. These are enhancements to improve aerodynamics and further reduce radar cross-section. The beauty of this approach is that you keep the core airframe, the part that takes years and billions to develop and test, but you refine the details to squeeze out every last drop of performance. Better high-speed handling, improved stealth, maybe even supersonic cruise capability for the F-35, something it currently lacks. That would be a game changer. Now, the F-55 designation that Trump mentioned. What is it exactly? Based on what we know, the F-55 appears to be Lockheed's proposed deep upgrade of the F-35. Not a completely new aircraft, but not just a simple modification either. The proposal Lockheed actually showed Trump included that single advanced engine, the redesigned nose and fuselage, and the new sensor suite. But even without the twin-engine configuration Trump mentioned, this would be a formidable upgrade. The advanced engine alone would provide substantially better performance across the board. But with Boeing's F-47 on the horizon, why bother upgrading existing fighters at all? Why not just wait for the shiny, new 6th-generation jet? The answer comes down to 3 things: timeline, cost, and numbers. Let's start with the timeline. Boeing's F-47 is still in early development. Best case scenario, we're looking at a decade before it reaches initial operational capability. China is rapidly developing its J-36 and J-50 stealth fighters. Russia continues advancing its Su-57 despite economic constraints. We can't afford to stand still for 10 years. Right now, we have over 1,000 F-35s in service worldwide, over 150 F-22s. These are proven, combat-ready aircraft flown by experienced pilots. It makes infinitely more sense to upgrade these existing fighters than to wait for an entirely new platform that's years away from operational status. Quick reminder, if these deep dive military analyses help you understand the tech behind modern air power, subscribe so you don't miss the next breakdown. Now let's talk cost, because this is where Lockheed's strategy really shines. Developing a brand new fighter from scratch is phenomenally expensive. The F-35 program, for all its capabilities, has cost well over $1 trillion when you factor in development, production, and life cycle costs. The F-47 will likely be even more expensive per unit, given its advanced 6th-generation technologies. But upgrading existing airframes? That's a fraction of the cost. You're building on a mature platform and enhancing specific capabilities. Lockheed claims they can achieve 80% of 6th-gen performance at half the cost. And the math actually supports this. And then there's the numbers game. This is something people often overlook, but it's crucial. The F-47, as advanced as it will be, won't be produced in huge quantities. It's going to be expensive. Pentagon planners are already talking about potentially reducing the NGAD buy because of cost concerns. Meanwhile, the F-35 production line is humming along. Over 1,000 already delivered, with more coming off the line every month. If Lockheed can upgrade even half of the existing F-35 fleet to F-55 standards, that's 500 plus incredibly capable fighters that can complement whatever number of F-47s actually get built. And they're available now, not in 2035. Okay, so the strategy makes sense, but can these upgraded fighters actually compete with Boeing's clean sheet 6th generation design? Let's look at a head-to-head comparison. Category 1, Stealth. The F-47 is designed from the ground up to be maximally stealthy. It will incorporate every lesson learned from the F-22, F-35, and B-21 programs. It'll have the latest radar-absorbent materials, optimized shaping, and probably some tricks we don't even know about yet. The upgraded F-35, with its advanced coatings and modified geometry, will be extremely stealthy as well. And here's the thing about stealth. There's a point of diminishing returns. If you're already stealthy enough that the enemy can't detect you until you're in weapon range, being even stealthier doesn't add much practical benefit. Category 2, Speed and Agility. The F-47, with its larger airframe and advanced engines, will probably have a higher top speed and better high-altitude performance. But the F-35 was designed from the start to be agile. It's got excellent low-speed handling, it can pull high-G maneuvers, and it's actually quite good in a dogfight, despite what critics claimed early on. With airframe modifications and a more powerful engine, an F-55 could be even more agile while gaining back some speed performance. Category 3, Range and Payload. This is where the F-47 has a clear advantage. It's bigger. Simple physics says a bigger airframe can carry more fuel and more weapons. The F-47 will likely have a much longer, unrefueled combat radius and the ability to carry heavier payloads internally while maintaining stealth. But here's where the F-35's versatility comes in. It was designed as a multi-role fighter from day one. Air superiority, ground attack, close air support, reconnaissance. The F-35 does it all. With upgraded engines and enhanced systems, the F-55 would maintain this flexibility while extending its range and payload capacity, even if it doesn't match the F-47's absolute numbers. Category 4, Technology and Systems. This is where things get interesting. The F-47 will have the latest AI-driven systems, advanced sensor fusion, and the ability to control drone swarms. It's being designed as a system of systems that can quarterback an entire aerial battle space. But the F-35 already has some of the most advanced sensor fusion in the world. Its pilots describe having a 360-degree picture of everything happening around them. It can already network with other aircraft and share targeting data in real time. And Lockheed is upgrading these systems as part of the F-55 package. New sensors, enhanced computing power, improved AI assistance. While the F-47 might have the edge in absolute technological sophistication, the F-55 would be no slouch. So, can the F-55 compete with the F-47? In absolute terms, probably not. The F-47 should be superior in most categories. But here's the thing, it doesn't need to be better, it needs to be good enough. And good enough means being able to defeat any adversary aircraft, penetrate defended airspace, and accomplish mission objectives. A properly executed F-55 upgrade would achieve all of that at a fraction of the cost and years sooner than waiting for the F-47. Now there's one more piece to this puzzle that we haven't fully explored. What about the F-22? Trump's announcement and Lockheed's statements have mentioned both the F-35 and F-22. So what's the plan for the Raptor? The F-22 is a fascinating case. It's still the most capable air superiority fighter in the world, even though the last one rolled off the production line back in 2011. But the Raptor has some limitations. Its radar, while cutting edge when designed in the 1990s, is now outdated. Its avionics are dated, and critically, the production line is closed. We have 186 F-22s, and we're not making any more. But what if you could take those 186 Raptors and give them the kind of comprehensive upgrade we're talking about for the F-35? New radar, modern avionics, enhanced stealth coatings, potentially even new engines, though that's more complicated for the F-22 than the F-35. The challenge with upgrading the F-22 is that many of its systems are unique to that aircraft. The F-35 has the advantage of being in active production with a huge worldwide user base, which means upgrade paths are easier to develop and costs are spread across more aircraft. The F-22, with its much smaller fleet and closed production line, is harder to justify major upgrades for. That said, even limited upgrades to the F-22 could be valuable. New radar and avionics. Enhanced data links to network with F-35s and F-47s. Updated stealth coatings. These wouldn't require airframe modifications, but could significantly extend the Raptor's relevance as a premier air superiority fighter. Now let's zoom out and look at the bigger strategic picture here. What Lockheed is proposing isn't just about specific aircraft. It's about maintaining American air dominance through a layered, complementary force structure. This is actually how air forces have operated successfully for decades. In World War II, you had different fighters for different missions. During the Cold War, the F-15 and F-16 complemented each other. The same principle applies here, just with more sophisticated aircraft and better networking. But there's a potential problem we need to address: export controls and international partnerships. And this could be a deal breaker for some aspects of the F-55 program. The F-35 is sold to numerous allied nations: Australia, Japan, South Korea, multiple NATO countries. These export sales help reduce per-unit costs for everyone and strengthen allied interoperability. But some of the technologies Lockheed is proposing for the F-55 are highly classified and subject to strict export controls. This creates a dilemma. Do you offer a downgraded export version of the F-55, creating a two-tier system? Do you keep the advanced version US only? Or do you selectively share certain technologies with closest allies? There's no easy answer. And this is something that will need to be worked out at the political level, not just the engineering level. New technologies would make the F-55 much harder to export. That's a significant consideration because international F-35 sales have been crucial to the program's success. Finding the right balance between cutting-edge capability and exportability will be one of Lockheed's biggest challenges. Now let's talk about production and industrial base. One of the factors in Boeing winning the NGAD contract may have been the Pentagon's desire to maintain multiple fighter aircraft manufacturers. If Lockheed won everything, Boeing's fighter design capabilities could atrophy, leaving America dependent on a single company for future fighter development. By awarding NGAD to Boeing, the Pentagon keeps both companies in the game. But it also means Lockheed needs to find other opportunities. Enter the F-55 and upgraded F-22 concepts. These programs would keep Lockheed's engineering teams engaged, their production lines active, and their institutional knowledge fresh. And here's something interesting. Lockheed already has production capacity ready. They have production spaces lined up. They have a workforce ready to go. Because they'd been preparing for the NGAD contract, losing it means they suddenly have capacity available for other programs. Like comprehensive F-35 and F-22 upgrades. This is actually a competitive advantage. Boeing will be ramping up F-47 production from scratch. New tooling, new facilities, new supply chains. Lockheed can leverage existing F-35 production infrastructure and quickly pivot to producing upgraded variants. Speed to deployment matters, especially if global tensions continue to rise. All right, we've covered a lot of ground here, but what does all of this mean for the future of air combat? Not just for America, but globally. We're entering an era of what analysts call mosaic warfare. Instead of relying on a small number of exquisite platforms, future conflicts will involve complex networks of manned aircraft, unmanned systems, sensors, and weapons all working together. In this context, the F-55 and upgraded F-22 aren't replacements for the F-47. They're complementary pieces of a larger puzzle. Imagine a strike package operating deep in contested airspace. F-47s are out front, using their superior stealth and sensors to detect threats. F-55s are in the middle, ready to engage targets or provide additional sensor coverage. Upgraded F-22s sweep the flanks, ensuring air superiority. Behind them, unmanned combat air vehicles, or UCAVs, carry additional weapons and act as decoys. Everything is networked, sharing data in real time. That's the future of air combat. In this vision, the F-55 plays a critical role. It's more affordable than the F-47, so you can have more of them. It's already familiar to hundreds of pilots worldwide. It can perform a wide range of missions, and with the proposed upgrades, it's capable enough to operate in highly contested environments. The future of air combat isn't about having the single best fighter. It's about having the right mix of capabilities, properly networked, with pilots and systems trained to operate as an integrated force. Lockheed's F-55 concept fits into this future by providing the numbers and versatility that complement the F-47's cutting-edge capability. And this has implications beyond the U.S. military. Allied nations that have invested in the F-35 need a path forward to maintain their capabilities as threats evolve. Not everyone can afford sixth-generation fighters, but upgrading existing F-35s to F-55 standards, that might be achievable. It keeps allied air forces relevant and interoperable with U.S. forces. So when we step back and look at the big picture, Lockheed's plan isn't just about beating Boeing or recovering from losing NGAD. It's about providing a practical, affordable path to maintaining air dominance in an increasingly challenging security environment. It's about making sure that the 1,000+ F-35s already in service remain relevant for decades to come. And it's about giving allies options beyond watching their fleets become obsolete. So do you think Lockheed's strategy of upgrading existing fighters can truly compete with Boeing's clean sheet sixth-generation F-47? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And if you found this deep dive valuable, make sure to hit that subscribe button. We'll keep you updated as this story develops.